Welcome to a special bonus episode of KidzDocTalk with Dr. Jenny. Today's guest is our podcast giveaway first place winner, Karissa Merrill. She is the founder of Mommy Moments, a platform for postpartum mommies and mothers of older children that is unapologetically unfiltered. You can follow her on Instagram at Karissa Merrill. That's at KRISSA MERRILL. Welcome, Karissa.
Welcome to KidzDocTalk with Dr. Jenny. Dr. Jenny is a board-certified pediatrician and is the director of telemedicine at Pediatric Associates.
Hi, Karissa. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So we're so excited to chat with you today. Before we jump into questions, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about Mommy Moments, kind of how you got into that.
Okay, so my name is Karissa Merrill. I'm a mommy of a right now 6-month-old baby Graham. Mommy Moments, I started Mommy Moments a couple of months after I gave birth to my baby. So Graham was born during the pandemic. He was born during, a tough time, I would say. And I started Mommy Moments after I started having the idea after he was born. So Graham's birth was a little tricky. I don't like to use the word traumatic around it, but it was a little bit. So I was 40 weeks. I was past 40 weeks. My husband and I did make the choice to get induced, which was a tough choice because we took hypnobirthing classes. We took all the classes and we took hypnobirthing classes, and they tend to try and sway you against inductions, but we decided for two reasons. One, he was late and I was starting to get pretty uncomfortable. And two, since he was born during the pandemic, the hospital I gave birth to him at was talking about not letting anybody birth with the mothers again at all, because I had him during that second spike, which was actually worse than the first, is what I'm told. So we made the choice to get induced. And that was a little nerve-wracking decision, but we decided to make it. Luckily, the day that I went in to get induced, I was actually already in labor because of hypnobirthing. I guess I never realized it. They asked me if I was having contractions, and I was like, "Oh no, just Braxton Hicks." And they hooked me up to the machines, and they're like, "Yeah, your contractions are 5 minutes apart."
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, well." And they actually did continue with the induction because I wasn't dilated. The first induction that they did not work. So 24 hours late and I was on the max Pitocin. So I was contracting and everything, but still not dilating. And then we did a second induction, and 8 hours after that one, that finally worked. But in the whole host of everything, we had baby's heart rate dropped 3 times. I was pushing him to the point where his head was hanging out of his exit. But for some reason, my doctor was like, I don't know why he's coming. He's not face up, nothing. So I had pushed in total for 3 hours. After being in labor for 48 hours plus, because I don't know how long I was in labor before I got to the hospital because I didn't know it. And we went for a C-section, and lo and behold, the cord was wrapped around his foot just so tightly. And he actually needed, he had got a very low APGAR score. He needed some oxygen, a little bit of help. So it was tough for mom, especially for baby and even daddy. So when I really decided to get Mommy Moments started was after my breastfeeding journey. So I had absolutely no problems with production. I produced 50 ounces a day. Yes. So I needed to pump even when Graham wasn't eating. And because he is a lazy eater, he has a tongue and lip tie, breastfeeding was difficult. So I mostly exclusively pumped. And because of that being so aggressive on my breasts, on one of my breasts, I had a very large inch-wide open sore. And I got help from 4 different professionals, and I felt like each time I was pushed in a multitude of directions that wasn't the way that would actually help me. And I decided to just follow my own intuition and go to my doctor, who birthed Graham, and they gave me this cream that helped heal me in 24 hours. And I was just like, if there was more support about like, really, like I like to say in the raw, even though that kind of, sounds a little rough, but I like to say like really truly what most moms are going through. Maybe I wouldn't have to have gone through all that. And my goal is in hopes that more moms don't have to go through that. And not everything is, picture perfect, like Instagram and Facebook and all social media platforms portray.
For sure. Wow. I think that story is so powerful. And I hear you being hesitant to use the word traumatic, but that absolutely what that whole experience sounds like, right? Anytime things didn't go the way that you thought and there was stress associated with it, I think we can qualify that as trauma. So it sounds like you really made it take a positive turn, and used your experience to be able to support others. So that's so inspiring. I love that. So can you give us a little bit of like some suggestions, because we take care of, right, as pediatricians, we do take care of a lot of obviously babies and newborns and mommies, but we try to get the whole family involved. So what are some things that families can do to support a mommy in the postpartum process?
So I think the biggest thing to help support mommy in postpartum, a very obvious one is helping her get some sleep, because you always hear sleep when the baby sleeps, but that in all reality is so not realistic. If only it was, but we have, if people have their own businesses or whatever it is, they feel the need to jump back to that quickly. Or if they're on maternity leave, they're worrying about what they're missing out, if they're letting their bosses down, and then just the regular household stuff of doing dishes, doing laundry, making meals, because there's a big push to get back to who you were before baby very quickly, as possible. And you're not going to be the same person that you were before baby. You'll probably be a better person, but it doesn't work the same after baby. So I think support first, helping mom sleep however she can. If it's taking over duty for the baby, even if it's just for a little while, because if you're breastfeeding, the only person that can feed that mom, that baby, is mom. So whether it's you pump so dad can bottle feed so you can sleep a little bit longer, however it works best. I think helping a mom get some sleep is the first one. And I think second, which is one that it gets really overlooked, is really understanding mom when she's going through the postpartum hormones, because there's some women who have postpartum anxiety. There's some women who have postpartum depression. There's some women like myself that I had a good spout of the baby blues. And there's some women that don't get it at all. But recognizing and kind of validating mom and saying that, of course, you're going through a hard time and it's okay to feel these things and go through these things. Moms have no control over the hormone drop. That's just a normal part, and that absolutely affects them mentally and physically, especially if you had a C-section. So I think those would be the first two top things, and then just little things here and there, maybe whatever moms like. If it's like a little gift, sometimes moms like quality time, sometimes moms want a break to themselves, knowing who that mom is and kind of what helps her, and doing those little things.
I think that's really important. I think you touched on some really helpful, concrete things. I find that families sometimes, when they mean well and they try to help, they sort of have their own ideas of what that help entails. That may not necessarily be what mom wants. A lot of times they just come and they just want to cuddle and hold a sleeping baby, and right. And then after 10 minutes they leave. And that may not be so helpful to a mom who is sleep deprived and has a lot of stressors about life. So I think that was really helpful and really concrete. I appreciate that. You mentioned one thing that I think stuck with me, is that it's not always going to be so perfect the way you see it, like right on Instagram and social media. And so you see these like mommies looking great and cute little babies and everything is fine, but in reality it may be much more challenging. And we definitely see some parents who have a hard time bonding with the baby.
Yes.
We probably don't talk about this enough. What are some common scenarios or like barriers to family and even mommy really struggling to bond with like this new family member?
Okay, so 2 moms that I've coached have had the same thing. And I've found 2 connections that they both share. The first, again, is exhaustion, sleep exhaustion, and mentally and physically, because whether you're breastfeeding, it doesn't matter if you're breastfeeding, formula feeding, still picking up a baby, caring for a baby, that's physical exhaustion as well. And then mental exhaustion just comes with the hormone drops, learning new baby. So I've really seen and identified this sleep as being one, because when you're in that state of just tiredness, things cannot make sense. You might be analyzing things in a different way. You could be sensitive to things that aren't even meaning to hurt you or cause you to feel a different way. And then secondly, it's a lack of support, especially so both of these mothers had husbands. One resulted in a divorce, and then another resulted in they just have a bad marriage because mom felt that there was a lack of support with helping with babies. So if moms do have a husband, or if there's daddies listening, to really step up and help, especially because whatever exhaustion the spouse, significant other is feeling is like 10 times more for the mother who is just given birth and is breastfeeding and body's going through all of this trials and tribulations of taking care of a baby and keeping a baby alive. So I really think the lack of bonding comes to sleep and a lack of support, because I've seen moms who they have a hard time bonding with the baby because they feel like everything is falling on their shoulders.
Sounds like there's a common theme in all of this, which is that the sleep deprivation can be extreme.
Yes.
and can be challenging for everyone, right? Both the person that is the primary caretaker and the partner, and then being supported by the other partner and other family members. So that was really helpful. Well, thank you so much. I really found this super fascinating. I would love to learn more. I'm sure we'll talk some more. If people want to find you online or social media, how can they do that?
They can find me on Instagram at Karissa.Merrill, KARISSA.MERRILL. And there it can take you to the website. You can contact me. You can see the real and the raw of my life. And if you want to chit chat, we can just chit chat there. Mommy Moments is not focused solely on coaching mothers. I created this platform to create an environment for mothers. I've just taken on the mothers for coaching who have asked me, but it's not something that I am actively trying to make a profit off of. So anybody can message me and ask me a question or looking for support, and there's no stress. I'll absolutely answer.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks again for joining us, and congrats on winning the contest.
Thank you.